What's up, guys? Vince Ryder here, aka Vince Ryder. Anyways, I was like, wait a minute, no, this is not the other channel because usually I do the a whole AK. But yeah, welcome back. It's been a while. I haven't done these in a while. Even though I did record a Vince talk when I was at the Philippines, when I was at the out of the country. And for those that didn't know, I'm surprised that pretty much I'm not surprised. But then again, yeah, pretty much the viewer rate in this channel is just like dying. Like, I don't know what is happening. But for those that don't know, I went to the Philippines/Singapore and I had a good time. I pretty much went to Boracay, Singapore Island. And I experienced basically the island life. And for the first, like, in 2 decades, I have never traveled out there until now. I mean, I've been places around the US for sure, but this is kind of like a first. Sorry, my throat. This is kind of like a first in like a long time that I traveled, and pretty much, for family reasons, going to the Philippines, and for vacational and just having fun, Singapore. And Singapore just felt like a luxury vacation itself. A lot of malls, uh, pretty much like it's a place to settle, even though it was there for a little bit, and the food was amazing. And also in the Philippines, yeah, just pretty much visit, my half of my family over there. And even though, like, there is also a part of my Italian side that is in the Philippines as well. Yeah, it was like one of the best kind of like experiences that I have this year. And it's just insane because I was there for like 3 weeks, but it only felt like almost like a few days, at least until now. I know my brother that was with me actually has a different take on it, but yeah, I mean, him and me, it was kind of crazy. I keep referencing like Drake and Sully, from Uncharted, because that's literally me in the Philippines. Like, it was just like us in some cases where we're basically in survival. We're in a cave. Like, we went to a cave like in Boracay, and pretty much, and also like almost get struck by lightning when we were on a boat. Like, it was a whole adventure, like experiencing blackout and just all this stuff. And it was his first time in the Philippines. It was my like fourth or fifth time in the Philippines because I studied there before when I was younger, and yeah, there is just so much story. There is so much, like, there's just too much to get into when it comes down to my trip and what my experience was like in the Philippines, because it is just a lot. It's a lot to take in. And it's kind of like, I don't even know if it's a big deal. It's a big deal in terms of like me traveling to another country. But I kid you not, when I came back to the US, I was not excited coming back here. I do miss having good internet. I do miss actually, you know, being in a weather where I don't sweat automatically. Like, when I was in the Philippines, I was like, it was just humid. It was humid there. Of course, in Singapore and Philippines, it's like really hot because it's close to the equator. But man, did I sweat, like, like each time where I'm not in the air conditioner, like I was just like sweating, just like automatically, because that's how hot it is over there. And yeah, there's just so much to get into. Especially, like, I went to my cousin's, like, had a resort there because she was also staying there, and had a hotel where it was like this beautiful hotel where it's just like scenic, seeing the whole entire island of Singapore, and pretty much like it. I was just like, man, how do you do it? But yeah, also I was sick when I came back. That's another thing. Pretty much I was sick. I was either sick of, like, like it from the plane rides, or I caught something when I was on the plane or something. But literally the whole entire plane ride, I was puking. I was just like, I was using the bathroom and I was not okay. Like, I was trying to be okay, but I was not okay. And it was either turbulence or something like that, but man, it was not comfortable. It was hard. Okay, like really hard. And I also see my brother actually suffering from that as well. But yeah, terrible plane ride. But also, I never liked really the plane rides most of the time in when we were on a trip. Like, it would be double plane rides because you would have to go to this particular island to get to this place, and then you have to take this plane ride, but you also have to take another one to go to this place in the Philippines. Like it was pretty hectic. It was like a lot of, and especially it felt good actually not carrying this big bag. For those that don't know, I had like this big bag, this carry on, because if you go to a plane, you have a carry on with you. And it was a carry on. It had my laptop, my gaming essentials, like my Switch and stuff, and also my books for homework, and also a couple of clothes, especially for my trip when I was going to, Boracay and also Singapore. So it was like, it was tiring. It was like my back wasn't breaking, but it was just like my legs because I was just carrying this much, especially how big, heavy I was because of the amount of food that I ate during my trip. Like it was just all good eats, and my stomach is just exhausted from eating all that. I think I already got enough stomach cramps to actually have it, or have all these like experiences already, especially just like pain that I was like, but it was like worth it because the food was so good. I don't know. There's just way too much to talk about. This is not supposed to be the Philippines, like, how was it episode, but I just want to share a piece of it because I did got back from it. I was planning to actually really come back with, a bunch of videos, but I really couldn't because I was sick. Literally, like, it was only like until like yesterday that I was already feeling a bit better. I was like congested. I was like, just like, especially just earlier in this podcast where I was like, my throat was like missing places, and I was just like, man, I don't feel well. But I had to actually still make content or something like that because I was really wanting to actually make some, like, the usual schedule of just like the amount of videos being like almost like 11 videos or something like that, but I couldn't because I'm still sick and I'm still recovering, and hopefully you guys understand. I did a bunch of streams here and there. Barely anyone showed up, but yeah, that's just what I want to put out. So other than that, let's get into some news. There was some stuff that I talk about when I was out the Philippines. I legitimately recorded a podcast when I was in Singapore. I was like, hey, and pretty much I just didn't put it out because I guess my internet connection wasn't doing so well. And also I was busy with a whole bunch of other stuff while I was there. So the whole podcast or whatever I just recorded when I was in the hotel, like I forgot about it. So yeah, that happened. But also, yeah, I just want to share some news. Some of these are just like 2 weeks old or something like that. But at least I'm getting it out right now because this is stuff that I really just, want to actually just chat and, just really, having this talk and pretty much just sharing of just like what I witnessed in the news or something. I'm not gonna talk about the whole like Israel, Palestinian thing going on there. My prayers go out to them, but I have literally I'm not qualified to talk about it. I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to ruin the vibe for any podcast. I never bring politics, ever in this channel, especially if it's politics around like, stuff that I believe in or whatever it is. I don't like to bring it up at all because that's not what this channel is for. But I heard about the whole thing about Biden actually putting like 100 million. Here's the thing. When it comes down to any president, I never liked Biden. I'm sorry. I I voted him because I wanted Trump out of there. But also, like, yeah, the only other choice is Biden. Other than that, I like Kamala because Kamala's, where I'm from, Oakland. But for Biden itself, like, what is all this money you're just throwing out there? Giving it like to the wrong people from what I heard. It's like, where is all this money? Like, I already heard about the whole Ukraine thing. I don't want to really talk about the number because I kind of forgot about it. But it was like in the millions or something. And now, where did this $100 million come from? Like, for those that don't know, in the U.S., and here's the thing, I have a lot of things to say about the U.S. I can go on about it. You already know I don't miss it here. Like, literally, when I came back to the U.S., I was like, oh, crap. And then the cold came because my body couldn't really fracture from the humid weather to the cold in, here in the U.S., even though it's not that cold at the moment. It is cold enough to actually get me sick because, well, For those that don't know, I'm not used to cold weather. I'm very bad at cold weather. Hot, I'm like a freaking walking fireball. Like I need to be lit and also kindled wherever I go with something, or else I freeze even in like freaking 50-degree weather. But like when it comes down to like what I was talking about, like just like shoot, I went on about something and then I was like, I'm trying to get back to where I was. Yeah, Biden just pretty much, for those that don't know, like the national debt here in the US is a lot of money. We owe a lot of money. Who? I don't freaking know. But just like Biden was like, yeah, I'll just take 100 million. Where did that money come from? Where did that come from? And you pretty much give us like, we did not agree to this. It's like this. Like say if like I'm saving money and also I have a particular bank account to actually save that cash, and someone uses it for whatever reason. That's what it feels like to me. Like all that, where did 100 million come from? That could have been enough to actually pay some amount of the national debt, even though like it's probably in the trillions right now, or quadrillions, quadrillions. Because let me tell you, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money in that national debt. It's insane, psycho amount of numbers. Okay, almost to the infinities at this point. Ain't no way we paying that. Like shoot, that's enough money to buy a whole sphere for the freaking sun. But yeah, yeah, just pretty much like Biden was like pulling that amount to give to who? Like what? Like there has to be some arrangement to agree when someone's like taking that amount of cash. And some of you might be like, "Oh, he's the president and he can do it." Like, yeah, I know, but that's still like $100 million. That could have stopped, like like that could definitely help America's like inflation and food shortages, or just like oil problems with gas and also other things. Because let me tell you, inflation is no joke. When things are expensive, let me tell you, you're not gonna survive here. You ever know what it's like to be homeless? I know what it's like, and it ain't fun. It ain't fun, chief. Let me tell you, I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, sleeping in the streets or whatever, ain't no way. But let me tell you, it's all that money. Well, shoot, all of us might be, homeless together. We all of us together. We have to think of something. We either gotta learn from those making tent camps or whatever it is, because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of dough. But yeah, Biden just decided to pull it out of the freaking bank account. It's just $100 million. Jeez Louise. Anyways, let's get into some more stuff here that is not politics. And I want to talk about Jidion, a person that I usually don't care about, but here I am talking about it. And Jidion always, is a YouTuber that I am very familiar of, and he has risen to the top as a creator that has been somewhere in my mind rent free, and also I heard about. But yeah, Jidion, a YouTuber that is pretty big in the millions of subscribers, and also has a good amount of following and has a good amount of traffic, decided to quit YouTube for the sake of the Lord. Now, this is a good way of actually me talking about this, because for those that don't know, I'm Christian. I believe in God. I feel like, for the longest time, I always have believed in the Lord. That either came from my influence within the gospel, praise the Lord, and dancing and stuff like that, getting funky with it, the gospel church, as a person that is not black, I always have inspired to actually, my Christian, sense of like, beliefs and stuff like that came from the black church. And pretty much my, that influence from the Lord and stuff like that, that, and also like, me going to a Christian school back in the Philippines. But man, like, for Jidion to quit for the Lord, there's a part of me where it's like, it's a good thing. And there's a reason for it and stuff like that. But also, it's like, you're like, listen, I wouldn't quit this channel, even though that would be like, if like the Lord tells me to quit, I'll be like, yeah, okay, sure. See ya, everyone. Bye. Like if I miss anything here, listen, I do. It would be sad for sure. But the thing is, here's the thing: I don't get paid. Okay, for anything, it would be for the better. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm so sorry, but For those that don't know, if you make videos for like ever since 2014, that's a lot of years, and not making one single dollar, yeah, you know where my priorities would be. Listen, I'm at that point in life where the things that matter should matter. If God matters more, then you damn right that does matter. Then the YouTube channel, I'm sorry. I mean, shoot, unless there's like $1 million in this YouTube bank account, but YouTube ain't getting me ish. Ain't no dollar. Zitch, zada, zing. Nada. Zilch on that freaking made up YouTube bank account that I never had. And somebody like, what? You're not, monetized or something? No, you know why? Google AdSense freaking suspended me. It's a whole story that I literally just keep. I remember talking about a lot earlier when that happened, and I'm still like just utterly shocked. Just things don't never go my way. YouTube, Instagram, like Twitter, and pretty much Google AdSense as well. When it comes down to the financial reasons, nothing goes my way here. It's like the internet, or whoever runs the internet wants me to be poor, wants me to be homeless again. Like, what is happening? And I try not to be the person like, hey guys, can you please help me? Like, I have a PayPal and stuff like that. And like, I just couldn't bring myself to do that. I really couldn't. Like, I just don't want to freaking be like Phil, whatever his name is. Like, I don't want to be a lol cow, all right? I don't want to be a e-beggar, or whatever you may call them, even though it's for a particular reason, because I somewhat need the money. But I'm not going to do it like that. So what did I do? Other ways to make money, I guess. The thing is that I thought this YouTube thing was, that Jidion had for the longest time. I thought that's his sense of revenue, his job. Like, what else does he have at all? Or maybe I could be mistaken. He could make a channel dedicated to the Lord, like, church fellowship or something like that. He can definitely do that. But when it comes down to like quitting your YouTube, listen, you can do many influences, but for quitting your channel, like, what about actually having others follow the Lord with you when it comes to making a channel? That's a good idea. Now, here's the thing. I just want to actually just bring this out because, of course, this is my channel and this is my video that I'm making here. I just want to really just not nitpick, but just say some stuff when it comes down to the Christian community and you guys, understandably, I just want to let you know that I'm still part of the LGBT plus community, even though the Christian community is against that to the uttermost core. And and I understand that, I get it, but at the same time, it's something for me, and maybe people will look at me like I don't have my priorities together. Maybe that's true, but the whole idea of me being bisexual is a fact because I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If I'm into men and women, it's not the idea of me actually, also like I represent it, but not the idea of like spraying it from other people and just putting it in front of people's faces or whatever. No, it's a fact. Okay. If I look at a man or a woman and pretty much if they're attractive, boom, bada boom, they're attractive. Okay. That's the way I put it. And I know that, a lot of Christians are not like comfortable with that, and I totally get that, and that's why I keep it to myself most of the time in the church. I probably shouldn't, but I have to. And there's other things that so that other people can actually focus more on the Lord, because that's what's more important than whatever I identify as. I don't care about that. I care about the Lord much more. And that's the idea of Christianity itself. And people like to criticize, saying that this is homophobic or this is actually bringing the LGBT plus community down or whatever and stuff like that, and people just mind their own business. And yes, maybe like there are some people that are like that, that are extremely like that, but I don't think everyone is, and I truly believe that not everyone is, as you can say, homophobic. And I say that because I am part of the LGBT plus community itself, but also I still believe in God. I still know the true word, and I know the true. And you know what? If you're a Muslim or whatever religion you are, hey, do you? You know what? Your life ain't mine. You ain't. I ain't you. You ain't me. I'm not gonna hate on you, but do you? That's all I say that for everything. I feel like it's the most simplest fact, but if I had like millions of people watching this, 100% I would get canceled or crucified for what I'm saying. So you know what? It is what it is. But I don't have a million people. There's probably like 2 or 3 people watching this. Anyways, moving on. Oh yeah, and also yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen for the future of Jidion, but who knows? Uh, San Francisco. I put it this one. Like I keep hearing, like for those that don't know, I live in the San Francisco area. I'm not gonna tell you where. Is it's either Oakland or Sausalito, but it's in the Bay Area, unfortunately, because it's so freaking expensive here. It's like, and there's crime. And listen, there's nothing really much here to go around. If I recommend anyone living in California, I would say no. Please don't live in California. Please don't. If you can, maybe Iowa would be a good choice, Denver, or whatever it is. Just do not deal with the tax rate here. Please don't. You will not like it. It's not worth it. It's like it's beautiful, but man, at the same time, it ain't. It ain't. There is already a good amount of places that I'd rather live outside the world or any other state other than California. But you know what? I'm here because my family's here, of course. Other than that, I mean, there's things to like and things to hate, of course. But like, I want to talk about San Francisco and the stores that are slowly closing down. And it's not a surprise. I feel like it's understandable. For many stores, they're closing down. I went to some areas and they closed down as well. And it's like I keep seeing those compared to what I see in the Philippines. Stores up there in the Philippines are booming, especially in like third world. I mean, it's a third world country, and certain neighborhoods like booming, especially how the money conversion. For those that don't know, the dollar, the American dollar, is the most highest. Maybe Norway or some other country could be higher than the freaking US dollar, but the US dollar is high, okay? Compared to that to like, Philippine pesos, where I'm from, like, it's insane. Like even 100 pesos is not even equivalent to a dollar in the Philippines. I'm not sure about Mexico or other places, but that's what I see. And also another news here. These are just pointless news, to be honest. Chris Chan made this track. Why? I don't know. And why is he not in jail? It's also another thing that I still don't understand to this day. And I talked about this when I was, in Singapore, but yeah, I heard this diss track, and I'm like, ugh, like but also it's like he thinks it's a burn too, like it's the most fire diss track, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's enough, YouTube for now. Anyways, moving on, let's get into some gaming news. Here is some stuff that happened, especially in the esports scene. From what it seems, a couple of protesters that are for climate change went to a fight gaming tournament in like Europe, somewhere in Europe. I believe France. I don't know. In Europe. Let's just say Europe. And yeah, just basically protested for gasoline. Out of all places, it just had to be like in an esports tournament when it could have been anywhere else. And a lot of times when I think about these certain protesters or activists for climate change and stuff like that, why do they go to these places? What is their purpose? Why can't they just like, promote stuff, talk to, Mr. Beast and like, hey, we need to bring awareness to this instead of freaking protesting in different areas. I don't think other sense of protest actually done that. I never seen it through, black activists or people that are part of my community within the LGBT plus community that are fighting for equality ever actually go to, a freaking art museum or an esports tournament and say, hey, we gotta think about the gays. We gotta think about the black folks and fight for them and stuff. I never heard about that. But no, out of all people, it had to be like the climate change people. Just go into random stores, random museums, and random, like, just random places that has a lot of people watching. I don't know about this esports tournament, but just say, yelling climate change and spraying spray cans on like some color, I believe orange or whatever, on the freaking expensive equipment. Like, and also just taking like freaking 10 minutes till security shows up. And it's just like 2 guys, which is understandable. Like, it's It's an esports tournament that is not that big. What do you expect? But it's the most dumbest thing that you can ever do out of in any tournament or anything for your community or what you're trying to fight for. I'm getting congested. Anyways, moving on. I heard Metal Gear Solid was also on the Switch. That's something that has been out there in my radar, and it doesn't run well. The same, here's the thing. The Switch 2 is coming out soon. I heard it's going to be like a DS kind of style, like has two screens, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like the Switch 2, two screens right there, bada boom. Call it the Nintendo 2 screen. But it's like, it might as well be the freaking 4DS. It's literally like, we had 3DS, might as well be the 4DS. Bring it back. That's what I say. Bring it back. It has to be called the 4DS. When you have two screens, like it has to be. It has to be close. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, what was Nintendo thinking? But man, the Switch thing, the Switch 1, currently I'm talking about the item I have. Man, so many games are just sucking. I saw the gameplay for my time in Sandrock, the sequel to My Time in Portia, which is a dope farming game. And pretty much the looks of it, it's just like, what? You compare that to PSP games, and it's like, what am I looking at? And also the same thing with Metal Gear Solid. The PS3 versions look way better. If you want to get the remake, you want to witness it, emulation to the core, especially PS1 for DuckStation, way better than the one that you're getting on the Switch. There's no point to actually put it on the Switch as well. And you also put the amount of games, like other games, like, this new what is it, Roller Coaster Tycoon Deluxe, which is part of their, franchise. But also, it's not even look good, and it's not a very satisfying playable game. Like, it just makes, like, Roller Coaster 3 look better. And I'm just like, is there any game that could actually reach a comeback in the Switch that is not part of any Nintendo titles? Like, it almost feels impossible, right? Because it's just getting bad. Like, what is happening with the Switch? There has to be a way to actually, generate it better. And there are some hitters out there, but at the same time, there's a lot of misses right now. A lot of missing pieces from the Switch in terms of their game selection that they're putting on the Switch that really just doesn't add up. Like, especially that whole Mortal Kombat thing, on the Switch. Compare that to the, to PC and also PlayStation. Like, it's like night and day. But I can't believe it's like almost like the beginning, because now we're just getting these trashy games on the Switch. And I never really cared about Nintendo. I am not a Nintendo person. For the longest time, I've always been a PlayStation person. Even though I couldn't afford a PS5. I'm poor. What you gotta do about it? Perks of living in California, being poor. But one day, if I do get it, that will be like a fulfillment for me. And PlayStation is usually a system, or just like series of systems that I grew up with. It's my childhood. It's my, everything from, it's literally like mine, it's like my family's favorite console. My dad's favorite, my brother's favorite, and rest of my family's favorite, like, console. And it's almost like, well, I love it too, because the games just look doper, and it's just like, his league's better. So yeah, I don't know what's happening with the Switch. They better make a comeback with the Switch 2, because I might have to move on to Xbox. I'm sorry. Moving on. Also kind of funny, freaking sending the whole Kind of Funny Mafia to do charity. I saw that. That was pretty cool. And that's it. Let's move on to animation news and wrap this up. So yeah, South Park has released something. It's a new movie or whatever it is. Somewhat like a movie. It is, or maybe not. I haven't seen it. Okay, especially not being a South Park fan. Not the kind of like series that I grew up with, but I, of course, grew up with South Park during years ago, because it's been TV for a long time, even when I was in elementary. And now thinking about it, and now I'm almost 30. Like, it's like how long? It's been a long time, and Yes, South Park Pandaverse. I heard that's going on, and also like it really does cover the idea of just like race swapping and having this or the multiverses of like that kind of commentary as well. And I haven't seen it. I'm just speculating, but it's doing numbers, and it's a pretty big deal. Seeing other people talking about it, despite like whatever their politics are, it is very interesting. Also, Invincible season 2 is coming. I think already released, like season, like episode 1 just released or something. I don't know. I haven't caught up to it yet. And Miraculous Ladybug World, Paris. Like that's gonna be something. It's crazy because they start off like their Miraculous Ladybug with their World Series, did New York, did China. I heard they're gonna be doing Brazil at some point, but now Paris, finally. You would think that would be the first one, because of course that's where it's set in Paris. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz. Hopefully, I talk about a good amount of stuff for you guys, and expect more videos, especially next weekend, or not. But hey, it's up to you. I'll see you when I see you. One love and a peace.